Yes. What is up? MCR family. Another live show, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Podcast form, you know where to find us. It's gonna be this is gonna be an interesting show today. Kind of some bullshit topics. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Talking about Wilder's new trainer, being Malik Scott. I mean, what tape can we have that's not like what? Is this April Fools? Like, what's happening here? Mayweather's saying that he's going to sell 1 million pay-per-view buys with Gervonta Davis through Santa Cruz. That's a topic. Canelo-Yildirim is still a topic. There's some bullshit in the timeline today on boxing, guys. I apologize, but we're here. We're going to break it down. We're going to have some fun while we do it. It should be a good one. I'm joined, as usual, on these shows by the one and only Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you, man?
I saw the world's best yard sign say, how people have like the Trump, Pence, or Biden, Harris? I saw one that said, presidents are temporary. Wu-Tang is forever.
I've seen that one a few times on the timeline. That one's pretty good.
Somebody on my drive had it in their driveway, in their front yard. That is true. That is true.
Wu-Tang is forever.
Wu-Tang is forever. I'm not really even a big Wu-Tang fan. Like I like Wu-Tang fine, but
they're a top 5 like rap group of all time.
I never really liked the East Coast vibe. Like,
you're not a top 5 rap group of all time.
I mean, I like probably like influentially speaking, yeah. Just for me personally, no.
But name 5 for you personally. Name 5 rap groups you like more than Wu-Tang.
Oh, that's easy. I don't really like Wu-Tang. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
NWA.
Okay.
The Dog Pound.
Okay.
Rap groups. It's a little tougher with rap groups. Okay. That probably. I mean, Mobb Deep for sure, and that's an East Coast rap group. It's 2 guys. Is that a group? Does that count?
They call themselves a group, but it is 2 guys. It's one of those. No, it's a group. I count it.
LOS?
Yeah, no, you like the Locks more?
Oh, for sure. Oh, good call, Matt. Good call, Matty Millions.
Hey, man. Why don't give me the big bucks?
Junior Mafia, but like, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, yeah, now I'm just going to start naming rap groups. No, I don't like them better than Wu-Tang. And I was never really a big Wu-Tang fan. They're fine.
Tribe?
Ooh.
I count that like hip-hop. I know it's not like, Lyrical Miracle like, Wu-Tang is, but I count that for sure.
Oh, Cypress Hill. Is that a group again?
Yes, I'll count that as a group.
Cypress Hill, for sure. But I don't know. Do I really like the Dog Pound better than Wu-Tang? I mean, like, probably, but like, I just don't like the East Coast vibe, really. Like, it's not my thing.
Yeah, so like all those times I've been playing like Wu-Tang and before the show, you'd be like, this ain't my shit.
It's not, yeah, I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate it. It's not my thing. It's not my vibe. Oh my God. Too much bass. They need
what?
They need Dr. Dre's beat. They need Dr. Dre with the drum beat.
Oh my God. I hate this entire conversation, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you know.
Because you like East Coast hip hop better than
I love East Coast hip hop. Yes, I do. I do. I will admit.
Long Beach says that.
I love Long Beach hip hop. I love West Coast hip hop too. Like, there's no doubt about it. But in terms of like, if I have to play a hip hop group, I'm gonna play Wu-Tang over NWA.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yes. Okay. One, Wu-Tang sound is much more timeless than NWA sound. That's just the reality of it. That late 80s hip hop, I don't think it's aged as well as the early 90s stuff, period.
That's true.
Just from a pure like technology standpoint, I think it hasn't aged well for that reason. And plus, like, NWA has like 1.5 good albums and like Eazy-E solo. Like, that's it. While Wu-Tang has how many solo projects that are basically just Wu-Tang posse cuts, right?
Right.
Like, all of the first solo joints in the 90s and early 2000s was all just posse cut Wu-Tang joints, let's be honest. Like Purple Tape, all that shit. Method Man shit, Ghostface shit, like all that to me is like Wu-Tang albums as well. So their body of work is just something else. I'll be honest. And I do love RZA. Like, I think as a producer, I think RZA's criminally underrated, even though he does kind of just make one sound. Hey, if you make one sound and it's awesome, that's
great. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, if Dr. Dre can just make G-Funk beats for the rest of his life, I would have loved that, man. He didn't, though. It sucks.
G-Funk, that was like the 90s G-Funk.
Mm-hmm.
That was my sound while I was watching 90s basketball. Like, I was definitely listening to G-Funk while watching Sean Kemp dunk.
Dwayne's asking in the chat, what are your top 5 MCs? I know I did a show on this for Trending Now like a while back with Anthony and Foogatti. You should go check that out. That was really good. I think we did top 20 MCs. I have to remember what my list was. Obviously, Pollock's at the very top.
He was number 2 in mine.
If I have to remember, I think I put Big at number 2, Nas at 3. No, I put Hove at 3, I think, and then Nas at 4. And then I think at 5, I forget who I put. I might have thrown like a weird one in there, like Mos Def, because I love Mos Def.
Did you have Andre on it?
Yeah, he was in the top 10, I think.
He was in my top 5. It was Andre. I had Nas at 1, Pac at 2, I think Andre at 3, R.A. the Rugged Man at 4, and Biggie at 5.
I'm the weird person that likes Mos Def more than Andre 2000.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just love Mos Def. But digressing, I think that was my top 5. Excuse me. I can't remember who else I might put there.
You didn't have R.A.
No,
you didn't have R.A. in your top 20. That's criminal. You're like maybe in the top 40 or 50. It's like, that's criminal.
Maybe top 50. Yeah, maybe. And that's not a knock on them. They're great fucking rappers like that. For a music genre that's only been around like realistically for
30,
50 years. 50 years, I'll say.
Wow. You make me feel old. I mean, you're probably not wrong. 40-ish. Yeah.
Like mid-late 70s is when it technically started, right? Yeah. So I would roughly gauge it right around there, right? So we're around 50 years now. And I would say it's a stacked genre. I know right now Rob's listening to the show like, what the fuck, man? I asked them to do a show for me because I'm not feeling well, and they're talking about hip-hop.
You're right. The G-Funk sound lasted, but NWA's sound didn't, which is kind of weird, right? Like, you could put on The Chronic, and it still sounds good 25, 30. I mean, how many years is that? 30 years? I mean, that's been a while. 25 years at least, right?
Technical sonic quality of the music. Yes, it's just timeless. It's amazing. And it's also just because of technology. Like, I forget what like mixers and stuff they were using in the 80s, but I know it's different than the 90s stuff. I know that for a fact. I know I watching the hip-hop documentary series on Netflix. What was that called? Fuck, that was actually a good series. But they talk about that. How like the technology changed drastically to allow G-Funk. Like G-Funk realistically probably could not have been created in the 80s. That's just the reality.
And I want to give a shout out to Chop and Screw because I am from Texas. Started in Houston. I know most people outside of Texas and definitely the South hate Chop and Screw, but DJ Screw.
Dude, it was so funny. There's an R&B act I like called Division, and they did a Chop and Screwed version of an album. And I'm like, what is this? Like, stop. Like, what are you doing? This is not for...
You have to drink a whole lot of lean first, and then you'll like
a lot, man.
You gotta be real slow. I don't know anything about lean. I don't know what that is.
Anyways, moving on. We do have some boxing to get to, I promise.
DJ Screw died from drinking too much lean. He did. He OD'd on lean.
Dude, I went to a Christian school, right? And I remember one time, because every Wednesday we had chapel, right? So it was like a church ceremony before school started. It was like 45 minutes, an hour long. And allegedly, we would get very high off just weed every time before chapel. Like, copious amounts, allegedly. I remember one time our buddy Mike, allegedly was his name, he came in high off lean, drank so much, right? He passed out within 5 minutes, and we had to like carry him out of chapel so no one would notice. Shout out to Christian schools, man. That's what shit.
I didn't know y'all drank lean because like I went to college in New York. No one even knew what it was, right? Like what is that? Like Skittles?
I come from a different... You have to realize I come from a different era too. Like I come from an era where like Molly was a drug that was like well known and talked about. Like Adderall became a thing that was like slang around in schools everywhere. So like the amount of drugs and the types of drugs taken in my generation was just probably a little bit different. Like the drug awareness was vastly different in my generation. I'll say that. Probably speaking. I can't speak for a fact comparative to yours, but I would assume. Digressing though. Back to some boxing topics, I guess, or to a boxing topic. We haven't talked about one yet. It's about Deontay Wilder leaving his trainer, or say parting ways with Mark Breland, his co-trainer. This was apparently something he talked about some time ago, right? Apparently he talked about this on the PBC podcast. I think people just didn't notice. That's no knock on Kenneth over there at PBC podcast. I just don't think people pay attention to that episode for some reason. But apparently this was talked about a while ago, and now it's become a topic conversation again, as Shelley Finkel has talked about with ESPN and other outlets, talking about Breland not being a part of the team for the next fight, and Malik Scott will be the assistant trainer to JD's. And I'm just reminding everyone that obviously Deontay Wilder defeated Malik Scott. That's the thumbnail of our show, is that weigh-in that was very infamous, and the 90-second knockout that's also infamous. This is weird. Like in terms of trainer switches and who we predicted Deontay Wilder to be training under going forward, I don't think anyone predicted Malik Scott for like good reason. So, Gary, your thoughts about this move for Deontay Wilder heading into a potential trilogy fight with Tyson Fury that also, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is like for sure not happening this year per Fury's promoter. What does he say? Yeah, not happening this year, most likely. So, Gary, your thoughts on the switch for Deontay Wilder's camp?
This is again, I can't say if it's good or bad. We haven't. I mean, it's just weird, right? Maybe Malik Scott is low key a great trainer. We just don't know yet because he hasn't gotten a chance yet, right? But this is for someone late in their career, because he's not even mid career. He's 34, 30. He's late in his career to switch to a brand new trainer who with really no training experience at a high level. I mean, I don't know if he has any, but I can't say it's bad yet until we see the finished product. It's unexpected, and it's like weird. And it's weirder than the stuff that Malik Scott posts on Instagram. You ever follow him on Instagram?
No, is he
weird stuff on Instagram? Yeah. Again, I was not the first name I would have picked was Sugar Hill, but obviously that's a conflict of interest, right? But and you know, because you've been in his camp, and I've always got the impression that JD's in name is the head trainer, but is he really the guy that's game planning and Xing and Oing? And I know he's the motivator. He's been with in his whole career, but isn't Breland more the guy? No.
Okay.
Okay.
My perception was like Breland was the better trainer than JD, is my opinion, but JD's and Wilder had a relationship. Like they were close. Breland, I don't think was like super close with Wilder, to be quite honest. I maybe I'm wrong about that, but I never got that perception. Breland was often just the guy that was doing the mitt work, I felt like, with Wilder. Okay. Not that he didn't partake in strategy. I think he obviously did to some degree. But in terms of who was the leader of that gym and who was the leader of that sort of training or trainer system for Deontay Wilder, it was JD's, and it's always been that way. JD's was there the day one when Wilder stepped into a boxing gym. It was JD's, not Mark Breland. So that will never change, I think.
Yeah, I knew that, he's a trainer, but I really thought it was like a name only thing. Like, I've been with you my whole life, so you're still going to be my head trainer, but like we kind of listen to no? Wow.
No, if they're sparring, JD's is the one that's really like yelling out instructions.
Okay, yeah.
Not that Breland doesn't, because he did, obviously.
Yeah.
It was, again, JD's was number one. Clear. It's clear as day.
Okay, then maybe this isn't as big a deal as I initially thought. If it's still JD's that is pulling all the strings and making all the decisions and really the head coach in there, I mean, maybe this is not that big a deal. It's like an assistant coach.
I'll put it this way. I don't think this is like a truly like net negative, so to speak, for Deontay Wilder. I think it's probably just a little bit of nothing. like a little bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. Like, I just think that because JD's was always kind of the leader there. The only thing that Breland really ever brought, in my opinion, was like the fine tuning, right? Whatever JD's was doing, Breland can maybe add to it a little bit and just fine tune the edges. That's kind of my perception of it. The few times I was in the gym during training camp for his respective fights. But if you're gonna, get rid of a sort of secondary trainer, like, it's at least an opportunity to create a net positive for you, and that's not what this is, right? Like, I think at this point I can safely say this is not net negative, but it's not net positive either. Like, JD's is still the number one. It's just training out who's like the second guy that's helping you out. Like, that's it.
Right. Like the Lakers will probably lose Jason Kidd as an assistant coach. He'll probably get a head coaching job somewhere in the offseason. And it's great to have his voice around, but it's not gonna make or break the Lakers season.
Absolutely. Yes. But in theory, if, let's say, using that comparison, if the Lakers brought in someone that was, I don't know, like a Pat Riley fucking legend, like, maybe it's different, right? Like, maybe it's a different equation here, just because you have that added experience and voice in your corner. That's not here. Like, Malik Scott's not that person. Now, again, maybe I'm judging too soon, but I'm wary of any sort of first time trainer coming into a high level gym, high level situation here where they need to produce results, right? It's not like Wilder's going back and taking some tune-ups where, like, they can work on some stuff with his new training system. No, he's going back in there in theory with a trilogy fight with Tyson Fury, the biggest fight of his career. Like, he has to produce results here, speaking of Malik Scott. And I don't know if he will. Like, I just doubt it, to be honest. Like, I don't think this is a move that will produce the necessary success or results that maybe Wilder's looking for, to be honest. Like, I just don't get this move in any way. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I'm glad for Malik Scott, though. That's a good job. You get to be in Wilder's camp. So congrats to Malik Scott.
And, like, it's cool, like, from a human level, like, it's cool that they are obviously tight after they fought way back in the day, right? Like, they're obviously very cool. I know they trained together in the past before as well. So it's, like, from a human level, like, that's cool to see. Like, former foes now, like, coach and fighter, like, having that sort of symbiotic relationship. That's cool to see from a human, like, interest level. But again, does that produce actual results for his next fight? I'm doubtful, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to get ready with any trainer in that short of time. I mean, I know he's got extended time now because we're not getting the fights on next year, but he's not going to have any fights, I don't think, in the interim, right? So, how much would you have to pay someone to spar with Deontay Wilder? I mean, right? Like, that's a hefty price tag, right? I'm not going in there for peanuts.
And he brings in like new sparring partners every week too, right? So that's the crazy thing. And he houses them, he feeds them, so it's expensive, I would assume.
Yeah,
because I know we used to stay at the hotel that his sparring partners would train at. So I know like Wilder would pay the hotel to do that. So yeah, expensive. And again, every week you're bringing in 5 new guys and paying them all for housing, for travel, for lodging, for the time, for sparring. It's expensive.
It's a tax write-off, though. It's a business expense.
True, but you have to pay.
Still expensive. You still got to pay for it. Yeah, you just don't have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. Moving on, unless you have any other thoughts.
No.
Canelo Alvarez, guys. We all know who we want to fight next, right? We want to fight Yildirim at the super fight we've been waiting for. Apparently, the WBC is still hell bent on making this fight and adding purse bid extensions. Is this the premier opponent that DAZN is looking for, Gary? I'm so confused, like how this fight's going to get made.
I wanted to do this topic just because I think it's comical, right? So let's say Golden Boy can't even bid on it because they can't get it televised or streamed on DAZN because DAZN said they won't have it. So who's going to bid on this? And then obviously the fight's not going to happen unless DAZN has some drastic change of heart. But why wouldn't they just make a real fight? Like if they're going to shell out money for a Canelo fight, right? Why would then they would get a real opponent? Not that Yildirim's not a real opponent, but he's not fighting Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Like this is ridiculous. But my only thing is like, what if give me a promoter, pick a promoter, Bob Arum goes in there and pays $100 million for the fight. Now I got Canelo. And he's already has a contract fee with that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, could it be a move to drastically overpay him to bring him in long term? Right? Because I don't know what's going on with his contract. That's all up in the air. Is somebody willing to drastically overpay him to kind of sucker him in long term?
I don't think that's possible. Like, realistically, that's just not feasible. Like, it's a purse bid for one fight.
Right, but
no way you can for a ESPN to jump in here in a purse bid and to steal him long term. Like, it just, from a contract perspective, it's impossible.
I pay you way more than they would have, and then I give you the whole dog and pony show. You're going to be the face of ESPN. You're going to be the face of boxing.
You still have to get out of that contract with DAZN.
It's all pending on that. I got that. I don't know what's going on with that contract. I mean, we should find out, I guess, within months. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, if you were the one that went in there and overpaid him drastically, you're gonna have it in with them, and you tell them you're gonna make him the face of boxing. You're gonna have him all over ESPN.
Gary, I mean, in terms of like this thought experiment here, like, yeah, is that like possible in theory? Like, months from now, if Canelo can somehow have his own deal, and then this purse bid be used, even though it's only a 15-day extension, not months extension, just a 15-day extension. Somehow they will align these two timelines, and this purse bid be used by an outside buyer and sort of pick up Canelo. I don't think it. I mean, Gary, I love the what if. It's not happening. It's not, man. I think realistically, because this is not something that the WBC really has any leverage on, because this is for a vacant title, right? This is for David Benavidez's title that he doesn't have anymore. So it's not like they can threaten to strip Canelo if he doesn't take this fight. There's no leverage here, really. So this is going to go away. This is going to go away, in my opinion. Like, in 15 days or 14 days or whenever, this is just going to magically go away. And we're going to see Anthony Durrell versus Avani Yildirim, the rematch for the vacant belt. And Canelo's going to fight someone else a year from now after he gets, done with his DAZN sort of legal matter.
Right before I moved back to Texas was the summer that I was still in New York, and it was the year that Kobe Bryant was technically a free agent, right?
Yes. I remember that famously, yes.
And every single day on the New York talk show, the guy that's in jail now on the morning show would say what the Knicks have to do to get Kobe. And like, he's going to resign with Lakers. Like, until it's official, the Knicks have a chance, right? I feel like this is what it is. Until Canelo does not take the fight, the WBC feels they have a chance to score this Canelo fight, get those sanctioning fees.
I just don't get what
we got a chance.
I don't think the WBC is that concerned about it. That's why I think it will go away, because like they still get the sanctioning fee because he's the franchise champion. It's like for the rest of his life, he'll be paying sanctioning fees because he's the franchise champion.
Can I just drop the belt? Like,
nope. Sorry. Here's an invoice, motherfucker.
It's like a gym membership. Oh, you're gonna need lawyers to get out of this thing. Yeah. It's gonna cost you more. Yeah.
You know how many times I've gotten a call from my old gym saying, "Hey, man, we're gonna cancel your account." And I'm like, "Cancel it, please. I've tried. I can't. Cancel it for me." And the next month they call me like, "Hey, man, we're gonna cancel it again."
Please.
They have charged me for like a whole year, man.
I got memberships to all types of things. Only the gym you can't ever get out of. I had to give up like my firstborn son. Like, how do I get out of this?
Spread sheep's blood on dude, I fucking hate that shit. But anyways, yeah, I think we're gonna, again, Canelo's not fighting Yildirim. This is another nothing burger. Like, this is gonna go away whenever it can go away. And Canelo is still gonna be fighting with DAZN and Golden Boy in 15 days. Like, that's why I think, like, maybe in a perfect case scenario, Canelo and DAZN and Golden Boy agree to some sort of settlement. They're seeing Kumbaya and they take the Yildirim fight, and that's it. But even then, like, I don't think that's in DAZN's plans. Like,
well, why would they take the Yildirim fight instead of just making another fight? Because Yildirim will take it on the cheap.
Yeah, and it's another belt for Canelo, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's their argument. It's a legit 168-pound belt instead of his belt that he got with Rocky Fielding, air quote. So like that would be the sentiment. But I don't think DAZN cares. They want him to fight MMA fighters. Like they don't care about him becoming a 4-division champion legitimately. You know what I mean? Like maybe Canelo cares about that, maybe, and that's a big maybe still. I don't think Golden Boy gives a shit because it's Golden Boy, and I mean it's just constant malpractice every day. And DAZN clearly has no idea what boxing is because they want Canelo to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov and his own promoter Oscar De La Hoya. So I just don't think this happens. And like no matter what, in 15 days, we're still in a situation where Canelo is fighting with DAZN and Golden Boy. Like the perfect case scenario still doesn't exist because it's just so unrealistic. It's just not happening. Anyways, Gary, any other thoughts?
I'm no more thoughts. I'm just interested in watching this play out. I really am.
Absolutely. Moving on, Terrence Crawford Kilbrook seems to be official. NSAC approves the request to stage the fight in Las Vegas. Gary, are you happy it's here, man? It seems official.
I'm gonna have to pay for this too, right?
I mean, I don't know. They haven't said anything yet, but the fact that we got Loma Lopez for free, I'm almost guaranteeing that this is pay-per-view.
I thought you were going to say they were going to continue that trend and we were going to get this one for free too.
Look how fat he looks. Guys, look, that's how I feel. Anytime we talk about Crawford, it's this face. Like, really? Really?
It's not the worst fight. Again, it's not the worst fight in the world. It's certainly not the best fight in the world. I wish they would have sat down with Porter or Thurman and said, let's get a fight made. Let's get a fight made. It's going to be over here on ESPN. What do we need? Let's get a fight made. But at least I don't have to pay for it. So it's bad enough where they didn't put on pay-per-view. So oh wait, we don't know that yet. Never mind. I scratched that. Yeah, if I had to pay for this, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not.
Yeah, if this is pay-per-view, we like take some pitchforks to Las Vegas, right? We march down the man's office. We can't stand for this, man. We bring the guillotine out.
Definitely don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
Okay, like I'm sorry. Like if we have to pay in this relatively within the same time frame, I think this is only like 2 weeks away from, or 2 weeks out from Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, and speaking of the Crawford Brook fight, if we have to pay for Davis and Leo Santa Cruz, and then 2 weeks later pay for Crawford Kilbrook, again, guillotine 2020. That's all I'm saying. Like it's just we shouldn't have to do this, guys. Why? Why do we have to pay so much for this content? For like mediocre content.
It's not my idea. I think making people pay for big time fights. It's like 100 million people watch the Super Bowl. How many people would watch that if you charge $70 for it? A tiny fraction of that, right?
It's so weird how like boxing is like the working man's sport, but yet it is so anti-working class. Because think about how much it costs. Think about how much it costs to support and like watch boxing. Boxing is one of the few industries where it offsets the entire cost on the consumer, on the working class, instead of offsetting it on, excuse me, advertisers and corporations. Right? Yeah, like it's absurd.
Like golf. If they put golf on pay-per-view, people would buy it, right? Because they're golf fans. Right?
Well, they did one time, remember the Tiger Woods thing, and it sold a million buys, and then they had to give all the money back because Bleacher Report
didn't happen, right?
No. What? I think if you bought it before the day or whatever, it went through, and then like on the day, it wasn't like allowing you to buy it. I forget exactly what went down. I know they had to pay back everyone. But digressing, like again, like you're looking at sports that often offset costs on the advertisers. Like, how are we going to pay for this content? We're going to make advertisers pay for it. We're going to make, the people that sponsor this game pay for it, not the fans. except for like you having to like have a cable subscription or again be in attendance. You don't have to pay. And usually if you're going in attendance, like it's cheap as fuck. Like I can go to a baseball game for $20. I can go to a Laker game for $15, pre-COVID.
You cannot go to Lakers game for $15.
Yes, you can.
Can you really? I think those are expensive, especially when the Lakers are really good. All right. Dodgers game, things like that, you can get tickets for cheap. I love Laker games would be expensive.
Now you can get them cheap. You go to the fucking nosebleeds, but it doesn't matter.
You know what team has the most expensive tickets in all of American sports?
The Knicks.
It's amazing, isn't it? They love basketball. They love the Knicks.
Hey, that's how they stay a top 5 net worth, so to speak, in sports teams. Like that's how they do it, man. That's how they do it. Digressing, speaking of top rank still, Loma Lopez, speaking of that as well. Aram says 250 people will be in attendance for Loma Lopez, mostly first responders from Nevada. Also, it seems like there's going to be no rematch clause for this fight, as he says, I don't believe in rematch clauses. They're overused by Eddie Hearn. Interesting. Gary, your thoughts on Loma Lopez not having a rematch clause and also having like 250 people in attendance that are first responders? I like that.
We're just a week and a half away from that fight. Like it's around the corner. And that's it's fights. I talked to my boy Kendo Castaneda yesterday, and he's fighting on the undercard. He's like, it's next Saturday. I'm like, wow, that came up quick. It is next Saturday. Like not this Saturday, next one after that. The 250 first responders, I guess you could spread them out. I guess it's not that big a deal. I mean, yeah, and good for them. I mean, their life has probably been difficult for the last 6 months or 7 months, whatever it's been. So why not give them tickets? I'm so glad this fight is for free. I just want everyone to watch this fight because look, I'm picking Loma, Matt's taking Lopez, right? Either way, this is a great fight. I mean, I'm really 50-50 on this fight. This is a great fight. I'm glad they're having it.
Do you like that there's no rematch clause?
The rematch clause, I mean,
do you think it makes sense?
If for a fight like this, yeah, I mean, if the fighters are fine with it, the fighters don't demand it, then I'm fine with it. It doesn't matter to me. I think there might be no rematch clause because this might be it for TFM at 135. You know what I'm saying? And Loma, Loma's not going to go up any higher. So that, our rematch might be irrelevant because Lopez can't make the weight anymore or won't make the weight anymore. So I'm fine with there being no rematch clause. As long, if the fighters didn't demand it and they're getting paid. All right. I mean,
so you think Teofimo Lopez is going to knock out Loma, right? And then sail off to 140 and knock out your boy Josh Taylor?
Josh Taylor's my boy now, not Barrios. Josh Taylor's my boy. All right.
Barrios at like 144 pounds still, in my opinion.
He's fighting one more time at 140. He's fighting Ryan Call on.
I've heard that for fucking years.
Well, he's got to defend his world title now.
You say that with a straight face. How dare you?
Look, Lopez could definitely knock out Loma. He's much bigger. He's the bigger puncher. He's hyper athletic. He's younger and quicker, more explosive. For sure, he could. And then when he goes up to 140, does he knock out everyone at 140? He could. I mean, I don't know that I'd pick him right now, but
if he beats Loma in like convincing fashion, I'm picking him to beat everyone at 140. I want everyone to know
that's certainly reasonable. I may pick him too. I don't know.
He's my next Canelo if he beats Loma.
Those guys at 140, you got Prograis, Taylor, Ramirez, Barrios, Zepeda. That's good.
Isn't Prograis at 147 now?
No, he's staying at 140. The fight, he's in the same camp as Kendo, right? The Bobby Benton camp. Mm-hmm. And he said this fight's at 140. He said it's not at 147. He said I don't know where that came from. It's at 140, and he's staying at 140.
Interesting. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited for this upcoming event, man. 2 weeks from now. God, so close. October's gonna be fun. November's gonna be fun. December, I don't know how good the schedule looks in December, but I know these next 2 months that we have right here are supposed to be.
Well, Usyk and Chisora is December, isn't it?
Is it?
Rob.
Rob, where are you? Anyways, let's move on to the next topic. Mayweather is saying that hopefully Deontay Davis, Leo Santa Cruz does 1 or 2 million pay-per-view buys.
Why not?
Hey, I mean, why can't we just have a communist revolution around the world? You know, like why not? I want that. Wouldn't that be great?
I want a lot of it. I was going to say, why don't I win the lottery? You know, like the only difference between me winning the lottery and this doing 1 million pay-per-view sales is that I could actually, in theory, win the lottery. That could actually happen. This could never do 1 million pay-per-view buys.
And just like international revolution, that could happen. It's possible. Far more likely than this doing 1 million or 2 million pay-per-view buys. We can't. I don't know if we had a show since the numbers came out for Charlo and Rosario, but it's roughly 100 to 200,000 pay-per-view buys is seemingly the estimation from Coppinger, Kevin Iole, good guys over at Sunday Puncher, I should say. So it's clear that like that event did not do gangbuster numbers, right? Like it wasn't this like surprise blockbuster hit. So the likelihood that Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz does like exceeds our estimations, which are still higher than Charlo Rosario, is unlikely. Like I think Davis, Leo Santa Cruz is lucky to do like 250, 300. Like it's more likely to do like 180 to 220, if I had to guess.
It ain't doing 250. Yeah, Paul Pierce was on ESPN. He said, if I played in today's game, I'd average 50 a game. Like, it didn't say 35 or even 40. He went straight to 50, like straight to the absurd. Like, I feel like that's what this is. Like, he's going to do 1 million or 2. Like, did you want to go to a reasonable prediction? Like, if you said 300, I'd be like, all right, let's hope for the best. You went to 1 million or 2.
Dude, that's possible, man. Dude, Gervonta Davis hung out with Drake that one time. So like, and like, I'll put it this way. I do think that overall the boxing media class and even like a lot of fans discount the stardom of people like Gervonta Davis, Adrian Broner. But they can't do 1 million or 2 million pay-per-view buys. Like it's hard to do that, people. Like Canelo doesn't do it all the time. Mayweather doesn't do it all the time. Like
2 million requires 2 superstars, right? It requires Mayweather and Canelo, Mayweather and De La Hoya, right? It requires 2 superstars. Mayweather, Cotto only did 1.5. Mayweather, Mosley, and those are bigger names, did 1.2 or 1.3, right? No, this doesn't come anywhere near 1 million. I mean, that's silly. If it does 250, I think it did great, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, if Mayweather would have set the expectation at 300,000, I'd take him seriously. But like, he goes straight to the absurd, and we just saw, this should do more than the Charlo twins. It should, because both names, like especially Tank Davis, it's a bigger name. He's done better, but it's not going to do. I don't even think it'll do double what Charlo did, right? I think it'll do closer to 200. Maybe I'll say 200. I think that's absolute max.
It has to do more than the Rosario fight and the Charlo fight. And I think it should do a decent number above that. Right?
If we're saying that did less than 150. The Charlo,
it feels like it did less than 150, yes, from the estimation.
180, 200? I mean, that's kind of where I feel okay. Yeah.
I probably agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, 1 million, 2 million? No. Come on. Moving on. Before we get to the rest of the news, I want to sort of segue into the fights that happened this last weekend, or this last week or so, because that Ivan Branchik and Jose Cepeda fight was something else. That was otherworldly, and I want to mix up in terms of just having like all news and the like. I want to mix it up. So, Gary, obviously, that fight is in the running for fight of the year, knockout of the year, round of the year, all of the years. It's in the running for. I have maybe a not a negative perception of the fight. That's probably the wrong use of that word. I'm less enthused about that fight and how great it was than a lot of you guys out there watching right now, because I watched it after the fact. So like the oh shit, this is happening factor wasn't there. Like I knew how many knockdowns there was. I knew when the knockout was. Like I knew it was already supposed to be like this legendary fight before I watched it. I think that always takes out a little bit of the splendor of a live fight, to be quite honest. However, that was a great fight. That was a fight of the year contender, probably in the top 2 or 3 fights of the year, if I had to guess at the top of my head. That knockout, I thought, was unbelievable. Whenever you have somebody go timber like that and be completely out, it's always, I think, aesthetically entertaining to maybe use that phrase, even though that's a little bit sadistic. I shouldn't. Maybe that's a little bit sadistic. And obviously, there's a lot of issues, I think, with after the knockout and the handling of Ivan Baranchyk in terms of his health, again, after the fact. But digressing from that, Gary, your thoughts on the fight, your thoughts on how great it was, and where it ranks not all time, where it ranks of the year in terms of fight of the year.
Look, I would say it's the fight of the year, right? But I'm kind of with you. It didn't do to me like what Gatti Ward 1 did, or Corrales Castillo, or Bradley Pervanderkopf, right? Like it was a great fight, right? And there was lots of knockdowns, but it didn't. I don't know. It didn't give me the chills like that. It was like Kirkland and Angulo. It's a great fight. It's a great fight, right? But I don't know. I'm not putting it on the list of the best fights I ever saw, right? But I would say this year, which is kind of a slow year, it's the fight of the year. I mean, there's been some good fights this year. The knockout was spectacular. He hit him with a 2-punch combination, and then it was a hook that hurt him, right? And then he threw the straight down the pipe that put him out. Mm-hmm. And then it was handled terribly, right? But from what I hear, Baranchyk is doing better now, right? He's doing well. Mm-hmm. But he didn't move for a while, and you could tell as soon as he went down, wave off the count and get the doctor in the ring, and like I think he even started counting, didn't he? The ref.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, guy, this fight's over. Like get the doctor now. The fight was great. It looked like after round 1, Baranchyk was going to be totally in control and steamroll him.
Yeah, it did.
And then he got knocked down. And then he got up and put Zepeda back. I'm like, whoa. And then it just got better and better. And like, I really didn't know which way it was going to go. I thought Zepeda looked like the better boxer, but he couldn't keep Baranchyk off of him. So like, that's a problem. And then he finally hit him with that shot. And, I think Zepeda really proved that he's got real power. Because he came up and he got a bunch of knockouts, but he never really knocked out anyone at the higher level. Now he did that.
Yeah, that was Zepeda's best performance, I would say. Even though I think he fought well against Ramirez in a losing affair, like that was his best win. Like that was a top 10 name he beat, in my opinion. And I thought looked pretty sharp doing it too. Like he was able to find like the finesse and the skill within the brawl, and that allowed him to win. That allowed him to get more knockdowns towards the end. Baranchyk was too wild, and Zepeda was not. Like Zepeda was cleaner with his shots, cleaner with his combinations, cleaner with the shot selection as well. It was just, I thought, a really great performance by Zepeda, to be honest. I think for a person like me who's always thought of Zepeda as like a top 20 guy that fights well but not that great, that was a win that puts him in the top 10 in a way that I think is undeniable at this point.
Was it a more entertaining fight? Put away the value of the fight. Was it a more entertaining fight than Pacquiao Marquez 4?
No.
I don't think so either. Like, we don't say that it's one of the greatest fights I ever saw. It was a great fight. Excellent fight. But, I'm kind of with Matt. It's a slow year, so it probably gets fight of the year thus far. But I don't consider it like some all-time classic, an all-time great fight.
Yeah. I didn't watch the rest of the card. Was there anything else that I should go back and watch on the card?
My boy Guido. Oh, he didn't take it out. I thought he should have got the L. They gave him a draw. No, there's no need to go back and watch any of that. Did anyone think in the chat, anyone watches, anyone think Guido deserved a draw or a win? Because I thought he lost every round except for one.
Gabriel Flores went the distance.
Yeah.
He ain't that good. I'm so happy. People realize he's not the greatest thing ever. I remember on Name Redacted, I had a caller. I used to call him all the time that loved Gabriel Flores in a way that you love all Texas fighters, Gary. And it was nauseating because Gabriel Flores is just kind of a prospect in my opinion. Digressing, I didn't watch the PBC card on Sports One, the Mark Magazio card. I didn't watch that one. Did you watch that?
I did.
How was it?
This is a couple days ago now.
Yeah.
There was nothing really to write home about in that card. What I just the Filipino guy that I didn't even hear of this guy. He's trained by Freddie Roach. He's good. I don't know what it is. He's offensively sharp. Like he throws power shots that like are on the money, like accurate like Pacquiao, but he's defensively leaky. So he's going to be a lot of fun fights. How good is he? I guess we'll find out when he steps up. But offensively, he's good.
Hey, Gary, refresh your page. You were cutting in and out there for a second. We do have some fights coming up this week and today as well. I think there's a fight card today. Yes, on Showtime. Just to remind everyone, though, I will be live later tonight at 6 p.m. on our sort of main channel, our big hub channel, Trending Now Network, live stream for the vice presidential debates. That should be interesting. So if you guys want to join me for that, if you guys are going to watch the debates, watch them with me. Why not? Gary's back. Gary, let's talk about this Wednesday card, which is tonight. Charles Conwell versus Wendy Toussaint on Showtime in Uncasville, Connecticut. Isaiah Stein versus Calvin Henderson. Some other people. Brandon Lee. I like Brandon Lee. He's not bad. Charles Conwell, though, one of the better prospects in the sport, I would say. Or at least one of the more underrated prospects, I should say, in the sport. This fight being at middleweight. I thought he traditionally fought at 154, right? So they
both do, yeah.
I wonder if this is one of those like, hey, it's COVID. We're both kind of coming in now with the best camp. Let's just go to 160. I wonder if I assume that's what it is. But your thoughts on Conwell versus Wendy Toussaint, which is a little bit of a decent regional fight.
I'm going to geek out on this because I absolutely love this fight. And my two paisans work together. Lou DiBella and Joe DeGuardia work together. I love Joe DeGuardia. We speak Italian to each other. And made like they put. You guys might not know Wendy Toussaint because he had a weird gap in his career. He's probably not going to win. Like Conwell's the better prospect, but like Wendy Toussaint has world champion skill. Like I'm not saying he's going to be a world champion, but his talent, his boxing, his speed, his boxing ability is there. He can punch. He can fight as a slickster if he wants to. Like he is really good. And Charles Conwell is one of the best prospects in the sport. Then putting these two guys together at this stage in their career, I love it. I mean, this is so good.
Yeah, Wendy Toussaint be a couple of guys out here, like some regional guys out here that I know of that I used to train with actually. So I've been aware of Wendy Toussaint for a couple of years now, I should say, maybe 2 or 3 years. He's decent. Like I don't think he's better than Conwell at all. He's definitely not the blue chip prospect out of the two. But this is a good prospect versus prospect fight. Both guys undefeated, both guys 12-0. Both guys have, decent power. I would say Conwell much more than Toussaint, but how I'm excited. Like for a good little tiny regional fight, this makes a lot of sense. It's two undefeated prospects going up against each other. And plus, as somebody that has read now an entire book on Toussaint Louverture, anyone named Toussaint, I'm going to root for. That's just how it is now. Sorry. So yeah, guys, Wednesday tonight. I think it's 6 or 7 p.m. Western time. What else do we have here coming up this week? What do we have this week? ESPN on Friday. Emmanuel Navarrete versus Ruben Villea. Joseph Ordorno. Who was he supposed to fight? Because didn't they just put in a new opponent for him, right? Who is it?
I think so. Does he have? It doesn't have an opponent on it.
I'm on ESPN's schedule right now. Not
okay.
Hold on. Anyways, who else? Lorenzo Simpson's on that card as well. He's a decent prospect. In London, Liam Williams is fighting on Saturday. Nathan Gorman is back. I think that might be his first fight back since the Dubois fight. I could be wrong about that. And what else? That's it for this weekend, guys.
He was supposed to fight Avery Sparrow,
which
would have been a good fight.
Yeah,
but Avery Sparrow got pulled out. I don't know that a replacement's been named.
oh, poor Avery Sparrow, man.
It looks like the fight might no. Well, I will let you know as soon as I find out. But Avery Sparrow, which is a decent little fight.
Yeah, I don't think Adorno, at least on BoxRec, has been official. They might have been talking about it online, but I don't think anything's been made official for his opponent.
That Ruben Villa fight with Navarro is fun.
It's a fun fight, and this one will be official this time because Navarro's last fight was not a officially regulated event. So at least this one is. That's a plus. Someone in the chat asking Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. What do we say? I mean, Canelo wipes the floor with Billy Joe Saunders. Let's just be honest about it.
Is that a white floor?
Dude, I saw fat man Billy Joe Saunders struggle with what's his name in Los Angeles. I'm sorry. No. Canelo knocks out Billy Joe Saunders.
Billy Joe is a guy that definitely suffers with motivation problems, for sure. For sure. I mean, look, Billy Joe at his best doesn't beat Canelo. But, that Billy Joe obviously gets outclassed by Canelo. But I think Billy Joe comes in at his best. I think he wins rounds, but he loses the fight. Billy Joe has a style where he can win rounds, but it's going to be tough to win a lot of fights. Billy Joe can stand up and outbox and win rounds against almost anyone.
Yeah, but I mean, anyone being David Lemieux and Chris Eubank Jr.
Willie Monroe. You hate when I say that.
Because, what does beating Willie Monroe Jr. mean? Does it mean anything?
Well, if you're coming up, it's a good win.
It's a B minus name.
If you're 14-0 and you got to win over Willie Monroe, it's a good win.
Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders gets knocked out within 10 rounds.
Do you think he gets knocked out?
Yeah, I do. I think he gets knocked out within 10 rounds. His only hope is to have better lateral movement than Canelo's ability to cut up the ring. Right? And I think what we have seen lately is that Canelo has adapted and improved his ability to cut up the ring and be a more efficient aggressor as the years have rolled on. Like the Canelo that struggled with Laura, it's not the Canelo we have now. I always make that argument.
That's true. The one that lost to Laura.
Struggled. Last time I checked, he beat him.
In the eyes of 3 people only, or 2 people. Was it majority or unanimous?
First off, I thought Canelo won and still do. Last time I checked, I count body shots versus nothing. What did Laura land that fight? Nothing.
Didn't he outland him in every round except for one?
Okay, I don't think that's true.
I might have made that up. I think it's true, but I could be entirely wrong. That could be a completely.
There's no way that can be true.
That could be the Paul Williams fight that Laura got robbed in. I don't know, but that sounded right to me when I said it. But it could certainly be wrong.
Gary, turn your mic up a little bit, by chance. Thank you. Let's move on to the final news of the day. Katie Taylor is back, guys, and she's fighting the one and only Miriam Gutierrez. Yeah. Terry Harper's on the card, fighting Rachel Ball. Yeah. I don't care about any of these matchups too much. Maybe I don't know who Miriam Gutierrez is. She's undefeated, but I don't know who she is. Maybe I need to do some research. But this is from what we were thinking Katie Taylor's next move was, which was obviously got derailed. She was supposed to fight Celia Brækhus next. That's not happening. This was a huge step down from, I think, what the plans were for Katie Taylor. And it's pretty obvious. I don't know why there couldn't be anything else that they could have found in terms of excitement, but I do get it. She's coming off a fight with Delphine Persoon, which I thought was extremely tough, which I thought she lost as well. Maybe she's taking a softer touch right now.
That was what I was going to say. That I scored the fight for Persoon too, right? I had it closer than you did. You and Santiago had it wide. I think Santiago had it real wide. But like, doesn't she deserve? Like, can't she take one softer touch? I mean, does she have to fight a killer every single time?
No, that's why I add the caveat at the end of, again, she's coming off the fight with Stephon Pursuit, which is very tough. So if it's a tune-up for that sense, I get it. I'm not going to be saying that it's the worst thing in the world. It's not, clearly.
And I just hope the judges watch this one and don't have their scorecards filled out before the fight starts, because they obviously did. Specifically the second Pursuit fight. The first one I scored for Pursuit too, but I thought that could have really gone either way. You scored both of them for Pursuit too, right?
Yeah. Yep. Robbed. I kind of understand a little bit how the Triple G fans feel.
That's what I was going to say, the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, they're wrong and I'm right. So like, it's different. Right? Because Triple G didn't win those fights. He lost both of them. Let's just be honest about it. He got lucky with the draw. So it's a little bit different than Pursuit being robbed against Katie Taylor. Okay. I get it. I can sympathize. I can empathize with Triple G fans, even though they're crazy.
If Pursuit gets a third shot, she's got to go in there, Marquez style, old juiced up on steroids, and just swing for the fences on every. We're not going to the judges.
It's a cheat. Just really, that's what be happening.
Like, I was never a Marquez fan till after and I thought Pacquiao won the first fight. I thought Marquez won the second fight. I thought the third wasn't even close. I thought Marquez won almost every round. And then when they scored it unanimously, right? But Marquez, like, you got to be kidding me. Are you joking me? Like, one of the judges had an 8-4. I think it was Moretti who had an 8-4 for Pacquiao. I'm like, and like, I became a Marquez fan. I'm like, that's the worst scorecard. That's one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen. But we've seen a lot worse since then. But at that time, it was one of the worst. Like, so maybe Pursuit gets fans off of this, right? Because people were like, she keeps getting screwed.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't think she really cares. I think she wanted to win.
I think she wanted to win, right? But if she gets enough fans, she can force a third fight because it'll be monetarily worth it.
It's women's boxing.
That's true.
I mean, I'll be honest. It felt this way to me after the fight, the rematch, that like this was Pursuit's chance to stay like at the top. And now she lost twice technically to Katie Taylor. She can be like excommunicated from the top of the division and just be forced out. That's how I felt like it was. Like she's not with a major promoter, major network. She's not in a major market. It's going to be hard for her to rebound, to be honest, and fight marketable big names again. If she beat Kay Taylor, she would have, by default, have to be still in the conversation with Sky Sports and Matchroom and DAZN. Now she's not.
She can come to San Antonio, fight Selena Barrios.
Are they the same weight?
Selena's 135. Yeah.
Oh, so they can make it. It's not a big deal. Yeah. That'd be good. I'll take that. Hell yeah. That'd be a great fight. I'll take Pursuit.
You know who I have to take. So
yeah, legally speaking, of course, you have to take the Texas fighter. It's in the Texas Constitution.
it is.
Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce is set, guys. It's happening November 28th. BT Sport. I'm assuming ESPN Plus as well. And it's not going to be pay-per-view. So that's a huge, I think, move for at least the UK fans, of course, right? Not having to pay for this fight, which is a really great fight, in my opinion. And honestly, even though it's not a direct question of like who's the heir of AJ, it kind of is, right? Because if Dubois wins, he is clearly the heir apparent to AJ, right? If Joyce wins, I think he just becomes the next contender that we want AJ to face in the UK. And it's not so much hey, he's the next guy because of his age, because of his sort of wear and tear, because of his longevity in the sport already. Dubois is 22, 23, or however old he is. So, like, the context of either guy winning is a little bit different. But to simplify it, this is clearly a fight for, like, the next guy in UK heavyweight boxing. And I cannot wait to see it. Gary, your thoughts on Joe Joyce getting knocked out viciously in this fight?
I was going to say, what do you think has a better chance of happening? Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz doing 2 million pay-per-view buys, or Joe Joyce knocking out Daniel Dubois?
Joe Joyce knocking out Daniel Dubois. That's a higher chance of happening because it's heavyweight, of course. And Joe Joyce isn't bad. He just isn't that great.
And Dubois is an animal. Future of the heavyweight division. No, I'm just looking forward for Dubois to win sensationally so that I can come on air and talk about how great he is, because I think he's that good and he deserves every piece of praise that he gets. Is it weird that I'm more into today's fight than I am that fight?
You're more into
Conwell versus Toussaint
versus
than Dubois versus Joyce.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
This fight is competitive, though. I think, everyone is going to pick Conwell. I pick Conwell, too. But this fight's really good and competitive. Dubois steamrolls Joe Joyce. Like, it gets ugly. It's so bad. Joyce is so slow. I mean, I get it. He's good. He's got good, but he gets steamrolled. Like, it's like having a Ferrari race against an 87 Mustang. It's like, yeah, the 87 Mustang's fast. It's fine. But it's like, look what you're racing it against. Like, come on.
You know how when Robeisy Ramirez, who won a gold medal, right?
2 of them, didn't he?
Is it 2?
I think, yeah, because he beat
whatever. Fuck it. Let's say 2. Yeah, he won 2 gold medals. When he lost his first fight, it allowed all of us to go, "Oh, this guy's trash," right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, for some reason, when we all saw Alexander Usyk beat the fucking brakes off of Joe Joyce in the World Series of Boxing, that we all went, "Oh, that's not real boxing." That's not real. That didn't happen. No, that fucking happened. We all saw it. It's free on YouTube. You know what I mean? I just don't understand why like a lot of Joe Joyce fans are like, "Nope, that we walled that off. That's not real." No, we've seen Joe Joyce fight a legitimate great boxer in a semi-pro bout. Like, and honestly, like I would consider nowadays World Series of Boxing fights to sort of be pro bouts. I know maybe that's controversial, I guess. Maybe it's not, but I really don't know what the take is on World Series of Boxing. But like that should be real fights. Like I don't get why we have that thing that is in between amateur and pro that exists, which is the WSB. It makes no sense to me. But digressing from that, again, we all saw these 2 guys fight, and Usyk beat the brakes off of him. Like, tore his ass up. Pause. But, I mean, he did it. Like, it wasn't even close. And we all of a sudden, again, we all being Joe Joyce fans, we all think that Joe Joyce can beat up Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz and all these people. No, like, that's not happening. Like, I don't know what people are looking at, to be honest. And I have yet to see anything in Joe Joyce's career to make me go, yep, that guy is it.
He beat Brian Jennings, which is a good win. It's like beating Willie Monroe. It's a good win. But, I mean, it doesn't make you the best guy in the weight class or the next big thing that you beat Brian Jennings, right? Like,
Good win.
Yeah, good win. Good win. I picked him to lose, so I'll tip my hat to him, right? But, like, if you think this guy's got a chance with Dubois, like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this isn't going to be competitive. I mean, I'm glad for Dubois because he's that good and he's going to steamroll him, right? I mean, but there's levels, and Joe Joyce is a level below, right? Like, there's nothing Joe Joyce. What can Joe Joyce do to win? Nothing. He's just not as good as Daniel Dubois, right? Like, there's no chance.
Yeah, it's just what it is, unfortunately. Moving on, another heavyweight fight that is all but scheduled. No, it is scheduled, and it has a U.S. network too, guys. Joseph Parker's back against Junior Fa. It'll be December 11th, New Zealand time. It'll be in Auckland, New Zealand as well, and will be featured on DAZN live in the U.S. Gary, your thoughts on the man, Joseph Parker, back in action?
He'll get a big win. I think he may even get a knockout. I think he will get a knockout. He will.
Yeah, Junior Fa is not good.
I don't understand. And you see Junior Fa fight on some cards. Like, what's the appeal? Who thinks this guy's good? Good at what? Like, what do you like? It's like Otto Bailey. Like, what exactly do you like about him? He's big. I got that. He's big, right? It's like the same thing with Guido. And I know Guido was an Olympian and stuff. But it's like, and I love Guido. I have to. We made that rule on the show. What do you like about him? I don't get it. Like, what do you see here? And that's how I feel about Junior Fa. I don't get it.
Didn't Junior Fa beat Parker in the amateurs a couple times or something? Like that's the whole reason.
Oh, really? I like it. I don't know. Parker's got skills and stuff. Like you can see Parker knows how to box. He knows what he's doing. Junior Fa is just big. Like he's not good. Like he's slow. He's mechanical. He's not good. Like he's big. That's it. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah. And Parker's like a solid B-level fighter.
He is. He's good. He's got skills.
Got skills, decent pop, decent athleticism, decent size, but that's all. Just he's a B in everything, and that's okay. That's going to get him far in heavyweight division. It will. Yeah. And it did. I mean, he
already made a lot of money. He's got a heavyweight title, right? He made a lot of money.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, he made a ton of money in that AJ fight. I mean, it's the golden.
And they fought Dillian White. Like he's.
You're right. I mean, hey, Joseph Parker had a good career, or is having a good career.
Yeah, he's not done. I mean, he'll never be heavyweight champ again, but he's got plenty of big money fights left in him.
Now you could pick up a belt again. It's heavyweight.
It's tough. Heavyweight. You got Usyk, and then you got Dubois. I mean, he could get a belt. It's heavyweight boxing. He could get a belt. It's just the era of heavyweight boxing that's coming. It's gonna be tough.
Like, think about it. This might be blasphemy a little bit. Tyson Fury versus Joseph Parker. It's not absurd to think that Joseph Parker can steal 7 rounds in that. It's not absurd.
You'd have to have the Pursoon versus Katie Taylor judges score on that fight for Parker to get 7 rounds.
Come on. Dude.
No, he can't outbox Fury. I would say, could he outbox?
I didn't say outbox him. I say steal 7 rounds. Activity, pressure, volume, just pure combination work.
I mean, it would have to be the Tyson Fury that showed up against Otto Vaylin, an unmotivated Tyson Fury.
Yeah, the Panadas, the all those Tyson Furies. Yeah.
I mean, he almost lost to Otto Vaylin. So I don't put anything out of the around the possibilities with Tyson Fury. Like Crawford, any other fighter, that fight gets stopped, right? And he loses to Otto Vaylin because of the cut. It's like. And then Otto Vaylin cracked him again and wobbled him in the 12th round. And Otto Vaylin is awful. Joseph Parker beats Otto Vaylin 12 rounds to nothing if he doesn't stop him. Right? And he may stop him because Otto Vaylin's garbage. And, Parker's pretty good, right? So maybe he stops him. But Otto Vaylin was tough, though. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean.
And let's not forget, the AJ fight for Parker wasn't like a dominant performance by AJ.
I had an 8-4. I definitely gave rounds to that fight to Parker.
And let's remember that the ref was not allowing any inside work.
Yeah, the ref was the tag team partner of AJ in that fight. I'm not hating on AJ, but that was the reality of the matter.
Parker can win a belt. He's 28 years old. He's young. He's talented enough. He can win a belt again. And it's the heavyweight division. Like, that's like if Tyson Fury vacates the WBC and you see Parker versus Andy Ruiz for like a rematch for the vacant belt, like Parker could easily win a rematch.
Win over Ruiz. That's a good win. I thought he lost, but it was really, really close.
Yeah, it was. I agree that I thought Parker lost that fight, but it was a close one, so I didn't really. No, I think Parker, he's one of those guys I think he's almost perfectly rated by the boxing fan base.
Yeah.
There's enough people that discredit him, enough people that give him enough credit to where it evens out, and we all kind of view him as the guy in the division. He's the number 8 guy in the division, and that's fine. But the number 8 guy in the heavyweight division can win a belt from time to time. It happens.
Like Derek Jeter back in the day, right? It was 50% of people said, "Oh, he's the best player ever," and 50% said he's completely overrated and trash, right? It's like, he's in the middle. Like that's where he is, right? Like
Derek Jeter, criminally underrated. Just want to point that out.
It was a debate. Is he the most overrated player in baseball or the most underrated player in baseball? Right? Depends who you ask.
He's the most underrated player. I want to put that out. Derek Jeter, much better than A-Rod.
That's so. I mean, see, now you're being ridiculous. Right? Like now we're being silly. Now
who is more valuable to that franchise? Derek Jeter. Oh, you're like, that's kind of a good point.
Because Jeter had the Oscar De La Hoya appeal. Where women loved them, right? Like he'd bring women to the stadium. I guess A-Rod did too, but no one liked A-Rod because he's a weirdo, right? Like. He's really good at what he does now, right? As a commentator, but like as a baseball player, he's a weirdo. And I was like, that guy's weird. And Jeter was like everybody plays, like the all-American kid.
Yeah. And he gives all the women he sleeps with going away baskets.
He does.
Awesome. Shout out to Derek Jeter. Last couple topics, and we're gonna get out of here. Daniela Alusinov is fighting Julius Ndongo on the Jacobs Rosado card, which is official, happening November 27th, live on DAZN in Florida. First off, I hate that fucking main event, by the way. Just want to point that out. And poor Ndongo is going to get just beat up by all the prospects, isn't he?
It's got to be an easier way to make money, right? I mean,
and it's not like Listenov's like the world beater. Like maybe Ndongo can actually win this one, to be honest. But it's clearly like Ndongo's being used and being fed to anyone that has any sort of push at 140.
I picked Ndongo to beat Prograis too. So I picked Ndongo.
What?
I thought Ndongo was the truth. Like, I thought he was just, okay, he lost to Crawford. Big deal. Like, so what? Right? That beating that Prograis put on him was
Dude, remember, I'm someone that picked Ndongo to beat Edward Trinovsky, right? Ndongo won his first belt and a huge upset, knocked out Trinovsky in like 40 seconds, right? I picked Ndongo to do that. And I was the first one to say, no, Crawford whoops up Ndongo.
I knew Crawford would beat him, right? But like, it's the same way I looked at Marius Briedis, right? I was like, okay, he lost to Usyk, but that doesn't mean he's bad, right? I was like, okay, so he lost to Crawford. Big deal. He could beat everyone else in the division.
Oh.
That's how I looked at him at the time.
I think that's a bad way to look at it because those aren't one-to-one analogs. And Ndongo got torched by Crawford like in 4 rounds, right?
Yeah.
Briedis arguably beat Usyk.
No, he didn't. It was close. It was a good fight. Only Rob thinks that.
No, it was a split decision, wasn't it?
Majority. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like you're splitting hairs there a little bit, Gary.
No, a majority is a type of split decision, right? It was split one guy, but yeah.
Come on. It's different. It's apples and oranges.
Fair. Fine.
That'd be like watching, I'm trying to think of a good example. Nah, never mind. No, that was just, no, there's no way you can compare the two. And Ndongo, look, like I said, Ndongo's talented enough, he's skilled enough that he's going to hang in the top 15, top 20 of 140. But again, if any prospect has enough polish to them, they should beat Ndongo. Because Ndongo survived off of beating Trinovsky, who was a nobody, and old Ricky Burns,
yeah,
who should not be fighting at 140 pounds.
Never a 140 pounder.
Yeah, that's kind of why I don't think Ndongo is going to have much being the gatekeeper, because I think he has never proven that he is above that status. He just proved that he is a gatekeeper because he beat other gatekeepers. You know, like beating a gatekeeper is a sign that maybe you're above that status, but you then have to go beat people above that status. And if you never do that, then no, you're just another gatekeeper. That's how I've always viewed it, to be honest.
Agreed.
So, like, for example, if you beat Thomas Delorme at 147, but don't beat Ugas, then it doesn't matter because it just shows that you're a gatekeeper, just like Thomas Delorme. Like, that's how I view it. Digressing, though. Any other thoughts on this before we get to the last topic?
No, that's it.
Last topic. Sergey Kovalev pled guilty on Friday to a drop-down charge, to a misdemeanor now charge of assault, I believe. It was that the actual?
It was.
I know that was the assault was the felony charge, but he settled down to a misdemeanor. I don't know what the misdemeanor charge was technically.
It's probably a lower assault charge, right? Like a lesser assault charge.
Yeah, some sort of misdemeanor battery or something like that. Yeah, I mean, for those who don't remember, this guy allegedly assaulted a woman, punched her, tried to like sexually assault her, and then like beat up her dog as well.
Well, he tried, from what I understand, is he tried to make a sexual advance at her, and she was like, "No thanks." So then he punched her and kicked the dog.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to summarize it. Yes, allegedly. Or do we have to allege it? He pled guilty to it.
I mean, no, we don't have to allege it anymore. He's pleading guilty to it.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Okay, fuck this guy. I'm so glad like we can get over this to a degree, and we can just say like this fucker is awful, and we can just move on from that. Like that. I hope we never see him in a boxing ring again.
A little part of me, and I'm not for sticking non-violent people in jail, but a little part of me, but he is a violent criminal.
Yeah.
A little part of me wanted to see him go to jail. And he punched a woman in the face. Like, putting him in jail would not be wrong, right? It's not like putting a weed smoker in jail. It's like he punched a woman in the face. Like, maybe a time move from civilized society to have to think about what you did is not the wrong punishment.
Yeah, you know, I'm more of a, you know me, I'm a little bit more of a radical leftist when it comes to prison sort of abolition, but digressing from that point, like, yeah, I think Kovalev obviously like needs significant help, let's say, air quotes, right? Whatever you want to define that help to be, whether he's go to prison, whether he goes to anger management rehab, which I know he's doing right now, like he clearly needs help because he cannot be out in society without any like recourse in action. Because clearly he's a violent person within society, right? So you need to correct that. How do you correct that? Then we have the argument or discussion about what is that course correction. I hope for, in terms of just like, as a community, like we don't fuck with him anymore. Like we should at least be able to do that. I know that's impossible because like Mayweather exists, but that would be nice. Like, I don't want to see Kovalev fight on DAZN or ESPN or anything like that again. I'm cool. Like, I really don't want to see Gervonta Davis ever again either. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to see these people. Like, I don't want to support them. I don't want to give money to them. Like, that just isn't what I care to do right now.
If you come out and you own it like Ray Rice did, I'm 100% wrong, and you get help and you get treatment and you improve as a person, that's fine. I just don't see Kovalev ever doing that. I see Kovalev seeing this as a win. I don't have to go to jail. I lost some money. I win. Like, that's how in my brain, I think Kovalev views this.
Absolutely. Rubisky in the chest saying who's worse, Kovalev or Pulev? I mean, Pulev didn't like assault someone, like violently assault them. Like he just had sexual harassment, I would say is what that was.
Kovalev's worse, but like
they're both stuck. They're both
Pulev saying that was framed. If Pulev is right, that was framed, if they set that up, then he didn't do anything wrong. If he didn't, and that was off the cuff, Pulev's again, it's not as bad as what Kovalev did. Kovalev's worse.
Yeah,
but like that's way over the line. If that wasn't staged, absolutely. That's way over the line.
It's sexual harassment.
Yeah.
It's not assault. Like it's not punching a woman. You know, like that's taking it even another step into illegality, right? And it's like immorality as well, right? Like not even from the legal perspective, like it's just immoral. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it, I think, for today. Unless anyone has any other thoughts or questions or concerns, Gary, any other thoughts or topics we didn't get into?
No, I think that's it. Just make sure everyone watch that fight today.
Yes. What time is that at, Gary?
The card starts at 8 my time, so 9 Eastern and 6 your time.
A little bit of an earlier card. I like that. I like the 6 p.m. start time over like a 7 p.m. start time. As I pull it up, let me try to get this up right here. Oh, wrong computer I'm messing with. That would help. Reminder, I'll be live. Oh, I am so sorry about that. What the fuck? There we go. Reminder, 6 p.m. TrendingNow.com. Not .com. Trending Now on YouTube. We definitely need to change our .com, though. That needs to happen ASAP. I don't know how we do that. I keep asking Foogatti, and he keeps avoiding me. So we got to deal with that. And Gary, when's the last time you updated the website?
Oh, wow. Okay. It's been a minute.
Okay. So I'll be sending you all the thumbnails in order to update. So hopefully the website gets updated over the next couple days, let's say.
I should have time on the weekends.
I am writing the next episode of the documentary coming out. We're at 14 pages. Sorry. No, 14,000 words and like 20 pages in this script. So I'm most likely breaking it up into 4 different episodes. So stay tuned for that, guys. Though I have not decided what to do yet. If I'm going to keep it one long, hour-long documentary or split up into 4 parts. Haven't decided yet. But stay tuned for that. That's, I think, one of the best projects I've worked on in my entire career. Quotes. Career. And we should be back in terms of MCR soon. I think I mentioned this to Gary, but I want to start a Patreon content up again. I'm thinking of at least every other day to do a Patreon show and to do more content of just like daily Q&As, daily sort of live streams where maybe we don't have to sort of stick to a topic. We can do a lot more sort of interaction with you guys, the listeners, and the consumer of this content as well. So expect more content. Expect more content on Patreon and on our YouTube channels as well. And also on Twitch. I think we're going to expand on Twitch as well. I feel like that market is going in a better direction than maybe the YouTube market. Digressing though, a lot of stuff in the works. And like I've said before, if you have any ideas, if you have any sort of creative juices you want to try out, hit me up. If you want to work in podcasting, video editing, whatever, there's a lot of opportunity here where you can get sort of some experience. And I can help you. I can train you. Like, it's not an issue at all. And email, all that stuff is below in the description if you need to contact me. Social media right here at MattHunterMCR. DM me on either Twitter or Instagram. And guys, have a good day. Good night, good evening. Free Palestine and fuck the police. Gary?
I really would. If there's anyone out there, I would like to do a basketball podcast, but you're going to have to carry most of the content. I mean, I'm good. I can add some good color, but I'm not as basketball centric. I'm more boxing centric, but I got a lot of basketball knowledge. Find me on all forms of social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog, from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.
And reminder, guys, again, 6 p.m. tonight, Trending Now Network on YouTube. I believe the video is on our homepage on YouTube. So on Mixed Combat Radio, if you go to our YouTube page right now, you should see the video near the very top for the vice presidential debate, which I will be live streaming. So join me there. That should be interesting. Like I said, guys, have a good night, good evening. Stay safe out there. Peace.